the power. It's a new dad. Yes, it is.
All right, this is New Dad, and we're going to have a very important conversation. My child, so please have a seat. Let's discuss. So, you cannot truly love someone else if you have not learned to love yourself. I recognize how corny that is, and I accept that it is, but it rings true. If you have not figured out how to love yourself and make peace with yourself, you will never be able to love someone fully, and you will often be the architect of your own destruction. Self-fulfilling prophecies of negativity and failure, and wasted failure. So learn to love yourself. It's easy to just say that, though. That doesn't help you very much, so we're going to get into it. Let's discuss. So loving yourself, for me, has a couple of steps. First, and the most important step, you have to make peace with you. Did you do something horrible in your past? You did? That happened. What did you learn from it? What did you do so that you wouldn't make that mistake again? I can't answer that for you, child. You're going to have to answer it on your own. Why are you thinking about that? I want you to think about this. Are you the same person that made that mistake? Shouldn't be. Better not be. The only thing that I'm disappointed in is when we fail and we don't learn anything. So you did something bad, you're going to have to make peace with it. Everybody makes peace with mistakes in different ways. For some people, they have to apologize to the person they wronged or the thing they did wrong. Some people have to make amends. Some people have to suffer in order to feel like they have paid for their sin, their crime, their misdoing, or whatever. I can't tell you what's going to work for you. You're going to have to figure it out. But I am going to tell you that I have faith that you will. Once we've learned to forgive ourselves for our mistakes, the next part is you have to learn to separate your real inner voice and the societal pressure voice that you think is real. Now, what do I mean? So your real internal voice knows all of the good things you do. It knows how hard you tried, how many times you almost succeeded, and how many celebrations you've had. That inner voice that's not true, that's the one that constantly tells you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not fast enough, you're not worth enough. That voice tends to come from doubt, and that voice is exemplified and made worse because of judgment. Because that voice is a judgment on yourself, and it will lead you to judging others and judging the situation, and none of that will help. It will not. So, fun thing about the human brain, we'll do a little bit more of this as we go, but here's the one you need to know for this part. Your brain does not know the difference between sarcasm and reality. I want you to think about that for just a second for me. Your brain cannot tell the difference. Why does that matter? Oh, it matters so much. If you say out loud to the mirror every day, I am enough, I am worth love, I am successful, your brain will believe it exactly as much if you look in the mirror and say, I'm not enough, I'm not worth it. Your brain can't tell the difference. Your brain hears the statement, I, so referring to self, am, what are you, what is your current status, and whatever you say. So if you fill your brain with garbage and trash and negativity. Before long, that's what your brain will think, because that's what you're told it. If you fill your brain with positivity, even if you don't believe me, and some of you won't, I'm sure some of you right now don't believe it, but if you do, if you fill your brain with positivity and you reiterate it out loud to yourself, your brain will believe it. Now, there's always room for mental health disorders, and those are always going to require some additional steps, and that's okay. Nothing is stronger than taking steps to take care of our mental health. It is the manliest, womanliest, and non-binariest thing you could possibly hope to do. I hope that you will take it seriously. But whether your mental health is good, bad, whether you're sick, whether you're not, whether you're plagued with troubles, whether you suffer from illness, there is no one, I believe, that will not benefit from injecting some positivity into your brain and allowing it to absorb it and have it become the norm. We have a lot to discuss, and there will absolutely be a part 2 of this. But for now, from your dad, I love you. And I know it's hard, but you can do it. I believe in you. All right, we're back with New Dad, and we're back on our topic for part 2 of loving yourself. Now, when you hear people tell you that they love you, for some people it's yay, especially younger children. That's awesome. I'm loved. For some of us, unfortunately, it's I don't believe you, or what are you up to? What do you want? That is a symptom of a culture that has become increasingly normal. Young people, especially my daughters and my identifying as daughters out there, you guys have it tough. You have magazines and media that are using electronics to change the way people look and then presenting it to you like you should look like that. I truly hate it. It is among the things in this world I hate the absolute most. Because it's not fair, but it's also not real. Your freckles, your dimples, your little imperfections, those are the things that one day somebody who will love you, and you will find them if you look and you love yourself and you grow, they'll love it about you. It's those little imperfections that make us as humans interesting. If we all looked like our photoshopped self, there would be no room for anyone. We would all look the same. What a terrible world that would be. You should be happy with your differences, big, little, small, in between, because they help define you as a person. But that's easy to say, I know. But it is true. When you look at things that present an unrealistic standard to you, remind yourself, as that negative part of your brain talks, remind yourself, say self, that's not real. If you're looking at the cover to a magazine and thinking, why can't I be that beautiful? The answer is simple, because that person isn't real. And the person that actually did that model shoot doesn't look like that. No one looks like that. It's a symptom of a very sick, sorry, the cat wanted in. It's a symptom of a very sick society that we've built for ourselves based on vanity and greed. The people who made those magazines, the people who used an algorithm to figure out your insecurities, they're not good people. And you don't have to believe them, even if everyone around you does. But that's another one of those, it's really easy for me to tell you that while you're sitting in your room, staring at a magazine, whether you're 5, you're 10, or you're 50, and just wishing that you look different. And I'm sorry that I can't just fix that for you. Say hi to Kitty. Her name is Zap. I'm her daddy too. Sorry I can't just fix that for you. I am. And if I could, I would. It would be my first to do. But what I can do, what you can do, is teach yourself to love yourself. If those magazines leave you feeling inadequate, don't read them. If those magazines leave you insecure or unsure, don't buy them. The only way that we can stop the madness that is this current culture is if we collectively refuse to accept it. Hi, Kitty. And it's true that we probably won't be able to change them anytime soon, and that's okay. They can die out. Right now, what matters is that you are so valuable. You have so much to offer the world. You have so much. And I know it's been hard. I can only imagine what your personal journey has been like. I've heard stories from friends, from loved ones, from my friends' kids, from my kids. But you can do it. You can get through it. I believe in you. And for my sons, my identifies as sons, and for my non-binaries who identify on the male spectrum more, I know it's not easy on you either. It's not talked about as much because unfortunately men's mental health just hasn't been a priority for our world. But I'm here to tell you, it's a priority for me. And it's one of the first things I teach my own sons. And now that you're my son, I'm going to teach you too. Because you also deserve love. You're also special just the way you are. You are good enough, my son. And I do love you very much. Now, if you find yourself viewing a show, listening to a pod, listening to anything, and then realize that oh, I wish I could live that life. I wish I had this. I wish I was that. Take a minute out. Step back. And look objectively at what it is you're consuming. If you listen to trash, your head will fill with garbage. And soon enough, it'll cloud how you see yourself. Loving yourself is the most important thing you can do too. Lots of people discuss my daughters and their mental health, but I want my sons to know that I see you too. And you need to love yourselves too. And yeah, you probably have made a mistake or two. You probably have done something you shouldn't have done. You let your impulses or your testosterone or your ego get the better of you and you did or said something. It's okay. I expect you, my children, all of my children now, I expect you to live with a code of honor that you figure out for yourselves. We'll go code of honor in another video, but it's coming. Forgive yourself for what you've done wrong. Focus on all of the amazing things that you do right. Do more good. Do things you know make people happy. It's so easy sometimes. It really is. Say thank you. Say thank you every time. Every time. It doesn't matter. I've said thank you to every person who has bagged my groceries for over a decade. And it's never once made me feel bad. And a couple times it's got me a weird reaction, but it's never got me a bad one. And I've seen it make a couple people's day. Feel good inside. Love yourself inside. Put love out into the world outside. And you'll find out just how amazing a human being you really are. I think that's it for this episode right now. This is Dad saying I love you. And I'll see you next time.